My coverage of CES 2019 is brought to you by Corsair, Enermax, Deepcool, and Cooler Master. Joe's playing Zarya.
Yeah, boy, do I love Billy.
Supposed to be editing, Joe.
Heard I did something.
We're here at the Thermaltake booth where Joe has just killed power for the entire area.
My gameplay was
I guess.
bad.
Oh, well, over there is still working. We can talk about the stuff over here. So even though Joe has killed the power to half of the room here at the Thermaltake suite, we're still going to press on because we got at least half of the room working. They're working to turn the other half of the room back on. Obviously, everything Thermaltake has is just far too powerful, and the Palazzo Venetian power grade was overwhelmed. But let's move on. Thermaltake is now doing memory. So here it is. This is called Water RAM RGB. So RGB memory, pretty straightforward. Thermaltake is not just putting RGB lighting on the memory though. They're actually producing the memory sticks themselves. There's a couple of them over here. They have a real clean design. So you've got the water-cooled version right here that has water blocks on top with 12 addressable RGB LEDs beneath them. Then you have a mounting plate right here, and this is also kind of uniquely designed because different motherboards can have different spacing for the DIMM slots, and this is a little bit adjustable. So you can actually install the memory and then install the block on top. You don't have to install it all as a single unit, and that means that for certain motherboards like EVGA's, DIMM slots are spaced a little bit differently. It'll still be compatible. The memory itself looks really clean. It's got a aluminum shroud on it, and that does help with heat dissipation. They've made the top of it very flat along there, so it will have contact with the cold plate for the memory cooling. We're asking about actual performance difference when you cool your memory, and Thermaltake was very honest about it. They're not claiming that this is going to suddenly give you much faster speed, but keeping your components cooler can extend their lifespan. And as they get more of these kits in, they're going to be doing more testing so that they can be a little bit more forthright in like what kind of overclocking performance they're able to get as well. That said, these are shipping in 3200 speed kits, CAS latency 16, so that's very fast as is. Currently compatible with Intel platforms, and they're going to be working with AMD to get compatibility confirmed across that platform as well. Now, if you're not into the RGB or the water cooling for your memory, then they are going to be selling these kits individually if you just really like that kind of clean look for the memory stick itself. So keep an eye out for that in the future. These kits themselves should be available within the next month or two. Now, if you've already got memory, but it's crappy memory that doesn't have RGB lighting on it, Thermaltake has you covered with this Pacific R1 Plus. And this is a little snap-on memory lighting kit that can go over the top of existing memory. Has, again, 4 LED panels right there going across it, so you can add some RGB bling to your existing memory without having to swap it out or upgrade it. So once again, that's the Pacific R1 Plus, already available, costs $59.99, so check out the Thermaltake website for that. Here's a pretty epic build in the Thermaltake Core P90, and I just wanted to share this with you guys. Thermal Mike put this build together, and he's got some really nice clean bends going on here. These were aided by the Thermaltake fittings that they have recently came out with. They actually came out with these in 2018. Mike's actually got it laid out right here, so we're going to take a look. The benefit of these fittings is that the GM1/4 part, which is right down there, is flat on the top, and then there's a 2-piece compression bit that goes on top of that. What that means is you can line up your bends straight across. You don't have to lift them and put them into a little cup holder or something like that. And that allowed Mike to do bends like this little loop-de-loop one right there. So the way Mike did this was he got the insert, the silicone insert, cut it to the exact length that he wanted for the loop-de-loop, took that out, put it inside the actual PETG, is this a PETG tube? Heated up the whole tube except for the very ends, and then he actually had the fitting installed in there so he could go and place it exactly where it needed to be, do the bend, put it on there. He had the compression fittings on the ends too, so he could secure that. So he actually kind of finalized this bend and finessed it into place while it was connected up there. So that means that you're going to know that your fittings are going to match up with your tube bend, and that's just a breakthrough for this type of water cooling. So very well done, Thermaltake. Those fittings are called the C Pros, and they're available now. Also, while we're here, we have the Thermaltake Toughpower PF1 ARGB. It's a 1200 watt digital power supply, so you can get digital control and monitor all of your rails and everything like that. And of course, it's RGB as well, so whether you want RGB bling or, you can also make it all white, like this. Here's the level 20 RGB Mechanical Gaming Keyboard. This is the flagship keyboard. Now, the level 20 RGB is available in a few different flavors. Interestingly enough, Thermaltake has teamed up with Razer. So they offer Razer switches. You can get it in Razer green switches, which is the most cost-effective version. You can get that for 120 bucks, or it's available with Cherry MX Silver or blue switches, and those are 150 or 160 bucks. This keyboard has a bit wider stance, so it's got plenty of frame going around the outside, but you also get an RGB accent light around the edge, and then you also get some media controls up at the top here, as well as functional buttons for doing stuff like adjusting the lighting and turning off the Windows button. And then here's the Razer Neptune Pro. This is available with blue or red switches, although they are not cherry. This is going to be, again, a more cost-effective option, but a mechanical keyboard. So you can get this for $70, $69.99. You get the mechanical switches. They have a clicky feel. If you get the reds, they wouldn't be as clicky. But even though this is less expensive, it is by no means a minimal keyboard. You still get media controls up here. You get a wrist rest down here at the bottom, and you get these controls for lighting and the Windows key as well at the top. Lastly, up here in the top left, you've got the game mode button. So you can punch that to switch between different gaming modes. So you can set it up for applications using the Thermaltake software to rearrange your macro keys or what have you, and that will allow you to easily switch between those. And back to some more liquid cooling stuff. These down here feature new colors, new Thermaltake colors. Coolant in a liquid cooling loop can be very challenging, especially if you want to make it colorful. That is why I often just run with distilled water in my cooling loops. However, there are plenty of products out there that claim to give you an opaque solid color or even tinted fluid, and they can often lead to buildup over time. Thermaltake is developing this T1000 coolant in order to allow you to do those colors without the buildup. These are the bottles for the transparent, available in acid green, red, purple, blue, and green. And then they've also got a pastel coolant. The colors for that include blue, white, yellow, red, and green. And if you want to know what it looks like, Mike's build over here is rocking that pastel white coolant. And lastly, I wanted to give you guys a look at this case right here. This is a special version of the Level 20 tempered glass edition, of course. I've shown this case before. They had it at Computex. It is an epic, massive case with multiple chambers, really, really well suited for water cooling, as you can see with the system they have installed right here. And they've given it a bit of bling by adding this special paint job. This is Miami Blue, or so I am told, which is based on a color from a very fancy sports car. And you also might notice it has a very clean and smooth finish here, as opposed to a lot of other Thermaltake cases that have a bit of texture to them. So you get sort of a more shiny feel. Thermaltake is considering doing some special edition limited runs of these cases with special paint jobs like this. So let me know in the comments section down below if you'd be interested in a super high-end Level 20 case from Thermaltake. But that's all the time I have for today. This has been the Thermaltake Suite from CES 2019. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hit the thumbs up button. And of course, a big final thank you to my sponsors for CES 2019, Deepcool, Cooler Master, Corsair, and Intermax. Thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next video.